Hello YouTube, this is Derek or Leica101, and this video is going to be another Pathfinder product review. This is going to be a hefty one. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the review for Pathfinder role-playing game Ultimate Magic. So in order to keep this short and not stretch on for hours, I'm going to have to go through this kind of quick, and I'm not going to be able to talk about everything I want and show you guys a bunch of stuff, but I'm going to try to give my best review I can on this. So let's get right down into this. First things first, I really enjoyed this book. It's the latest hardcover from Pathfinder. A little over 250 pages. Really great stuff. So let's get right into it. Spellcasters, Soul Focus. I went to Paizo's boards before I went in to do this review, and I was looking at some of the other people's reviews, and I have to say, kind of confused, because some people are knocking off stars simply because this product doesn't have anything to do with the martial classes, if you will, any of the heavy combat-oriented classes. I'm not going to knock off a star for that because, ladies and gentlemen, Paizo has announced Ultimate Combat. It's going to be out sometime in July, I believe. I'm not going to knock off a star just because it doesn't have the fighter in here. No, that's silly. So, even though we're not talking about any of those classes, this book is, something completely different. Back to topic. That's something silly. It's something different. First things first, brand new 20 level class in here, Magus. Right here. Beautiful, beautiful picture. Right here. Beautiful. I have to say, this class, once again, Paizo has outdone themselves. Beautifully built, beautifully designed. I can wield a sword in one hand, a spell in the other. I can put spells into my blade. I can give properties to my blade, magical properties, so it can dance and do its own thing. I can put fire. I can put ice. I can put two things into it if I want. I can gain special abilities that allow me to cast and strike. I can do double casting. I'm not going to get into it. Maybe I'll do a separate review on the Magus alone, a nice little preview or something, but this isn't good class, and probably if I ever played Spellcaster, I might want to just push back to the side and be a Magus. So it's a great class, excellent. They really listened to what everyone had to say in the Ultimate Magic playtest, if anybody was a part of that, and put in. Great job. They fixed a bunch of the problems. It's streamlined, it makes sense, everything's easy and flows. Spell list is great, it all works. Then we get into class options and archetypes for all the spellcasting classes. First one, Alchemist. Great stuff. There's 4 or 5 different archetypes. The Alchemist gets some crazy stuff, including some really creepy things, including tumor familiars that you can attach to your body that can then come off your body and then form into the shape of a tumor bat and fly around. It's really creepy. Or a parasitic twin that can form out of your back and then have a set of arms and hold things for you and be all almost weird, second body almost, that can die and then you can remove it and grow another one. It's really creepy stuff, but it all fits in the Alchemist and the creepy Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde kind of thing. It's really great. You've got the Reanimator archetype. You are almost like a necromancer, but you just like having cadavers around. So you can project your brain into all these different cadavers and control them one at a time and have your body chill back and never take damage, but that's kind of creepy. But it's awesome. Moving on to the Bard. We've got masterpieces, masterwork pieces of music or performances that people just have to stand up and give you a standing ovation. There aren't very many. I believe there are only 10 right now, but 10 or 12, but hopefully they'll improve and give us some more masterpieces, which would be great. Then we've got archetypes. We've got the Geisha. You can tell they're trying to build for Tian Sha, their next expansion, as they go over the Crown of the World and Galarian and take you along. We've got about 6 different archetypes, all classic Bard stuff. The Celebrity, Geisha, like I said. Song Healer, you're going to be healing with your music. We got Cleric, you've got Variant Channeling. Personally, I'm not a fan of it because Clerics already have domains, subdomains. Now you've got Variant Channeling. It just makes things a little too complicated for my taste. But it's in there. We've got 2 new domains. We've got I believe it's the wood domain and the metal domain, which is excellent because those were needed. Then we also have the archetypes, my favorite of which is called the Undead Lord archetype. Yes, that's what it looks like. You are a cleric that commands undead. You summon undead. You are a necromancer cleric. It's really awesome. Then we have the druid. You've got animal and terrain domains, which is nice, so now you can solely focus on different regions that you live in as a druid that you can now use as reasons or ways of your channeling of energies, which is great. Made me think of 23 Penguins 32, Brady, and all of his druid stuff, and it really made me think about the way he does all of his druid stuff, and I thought it would be great for him. So, Brady, shout out to you. Great stuff in the druid section for you. I will say, however, they have added vermin companions, so you can have a little spider, a little scorpion, or a little crab. You know, I thought that was kind of cute. I want a little crab, maybe a little hermit crab for my familiar or companion. I don't know. However, their archetypes were a little disappointing, particularly Dragon Shaman. You know, sounds great. Yeah, I'm gonna be a dragon shaman. I get dragons, and I can. Oh yeah, dragon shape and wings, and right? Wrong. A more apt name for this one would be Reptile Shaman. I'm gonna take aspects of crocodiles and you know, those kinds of large lizards, frilled lizards, those kinds of things. Not dragons. Kind of disappointing on that aspect. They do kind of save themselves. You have a reincarnated druid. When you die, you come back always. So, kind of cool. And the Saurian Shaman. Basically, you and dinosaurs are best friends. So, I know Galarian's got dinosaurs. My campaign setting sadly does not, but hey, who doesn't want a Tyrannosaurus Rex for a companion? Or a Velociraptor? I do. I know I do. Inquisitors. Their thing, obviously, Inquisitions. Some nice ways to give the Inquisitor a little bit more of an edge, I guess you could say, or more of a focus against certain kinds of enemies, or in certain conditions. There's about 18 or 19 of them. They have some great archetypes, my favorite of which is called the Sin Eater. Yes, the Eater of Sin. When something dies, you have the ability to go to its body, and as the soul is about to ascend, in most cases to Pharasma, and the Lady of Graves, I think is what she's called, go to her in the afterlife, you can literally take their soul, make it pause in its ascension, and grab it and eat its sin, and all of its sins, and gain health from that. It's pretty crazy. You also have Preacher and Exorcists, so it's pretty cool. Magus even gets some new archetypes, which I think is awesome. You introduced me to a new class, and you're giving me archetypes for it? Spot on. They've got Bladebound, which gives you a sentient blade of ebony that kind of talks to you and whispers things and has its own agenda. It's pretty cool. You have Hexcrafter, who you focus on putting hexes into your spells and your blade when you're attacking. You have a Staff Magus. Instead of using a sword, they have a new proficiency where I can wield a staff one-handed and kind of, you know, quarterstaff, kick around and cast spells at the same time. It's pretty cool. Then they have the Monk. I have to say I was a little disappointed with the Monk section. You've got Vows, which include vow of chains, vow of cleanliness, fasting, peace, poverty, celibacy, silence. So these give you bonuses. Then you've got the Qigong Monk, which is kind of a super powered, oh, I'm going to use all these Kai related powers that are going to make me almost like super magic fighter kind of guy. However, it gets kind of crazy when you've got a bunch of different powers, and there's an entire page, I'll show it to you. This entire page right here is nothing but different powers that you can replace other abilities that the monk has and replace them with more Kai powers. So it gets kind of confusing. And I will say one downfall in the entire book is organization. I'll try to find you a spot right here in this little section. Can't see those double asterisks and that cross? Double asterisk refers, in this case, I believe that, yep, right here, feats or spells marked with 2 asterisks are in the Advanced Player's Guide. Feats marked with a dagger, which is that little cross I showed you, are Kai powers that can be activated as an immediate action, and feats or spells marked with a single asterisk are described in this book. That would be fine if that was the way it worked for the entire book. However, if we go back to the cleric section with that undead lord, in the undead lord we have, asterisk 1, asterisk 2. However, 1 asterisk indicates a new feat in this book. 2 in something else, or excuse me, like right here, an asterisk indicates a meta magic feat from the Advanced Player's Guide. 1 asterisk, where before 1 asterisk indicated in this book. So now you've got me running back and forth reading from different books when I was so set that 1 asterisk was for this book and 2 was for Advanced Player's Guide. Now at 1 asterisk is Advanced Player's Guide. Paizo, I need a little bit of, same stuff here. Keep it the same. 1 in this book. 2 Advanced Player's Guide. Please. 3 for core book. I don't care. Do something like that. But don't have me believing one time that the 1 asterisk is this book and then the next time it's something else. I know when I was reading through this and I got to the feat section, which we'll get to, I was grabbing all my books and just, okay, what am I in this time? Oh, I'm in this. Oh, crap, now I need this one. So it gets a little annoying when I have to keep running around and getting confused on what book I need to have out. So that's me personally. I don't know if it bothers a bunch of other people, but personally I'd like some same, standards, please. Back to characters. Oracle. Bunch of new mysteries, bunch of great archetypes. It's amazing. My favorite of which out of the mysteries was Ancestor. Kind of gave me that Native American shaman kind of feel where, the spirits of your ancestors talk to you and want you to do things. For the ancestors kind of concept, where eventually if you take a certain mystery out of Ancestors, you get to summon basically the spirits of your ancestors in the form of like a battalion of 6 or 7 spirit warriors that fight. So that's pretty cool. You can also counsel with your spirit elders and ancestors, and they kind of arise and you gain divine knowledge. You've got Dark Tapestry, which you commune with the dark spaces of the beyond. Metal, obviously you're working with metals. Time, you literally are aging someone on the spot through time. You can erase them from time, where they just kind of disappear for a couple of rounds and then come back. They're gone. You can't do anything to them, but they're gone. That'd come in handy in a tight spot with a couple of dragons, I think. Just no more dragon. Let's move on. Dragon's back? Okay, we're good. We're already out of there. You got the Wood Mystery. You've got a bunch of different kinds of archetypes. Seer, Stargazer, Possessed Oracle. Paladin. On to Paladin. Paladin is in here, and it's got some pretty good stuff. It's got oaths. Oaths are ways that you bond to certain things. Oath against corruption. Oath against fiends, savagery, undeath. It's kind of like a focus, if you will. Sorry, I have a very itchy nose today. Allergies. You got Oath of Charity, Oath of Loyalty, Oath of Vengeance. These different oaths give you a bunch of different abilities, and sometimes they replace class abilities. Then the Ranger shows up, and I don't quite understand this inclusion. Maybe it's because they didn't have space for it in Ultimate Combat. Maybe they plan on expanding it in Ultimate Combat, but I'm not sure. But to me, it just doesn't fit as something that should be in Ultimate Combat. We have the Trap Ranger, and we have a list of, let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 traps. That's it. Alarm trap, burning trap, exploding trap, fire trap, freeze trap, marking, poison, sleet, snare, and swarm. Hopefully this is going to get expanded, because to me this doesn't scream magic. You're making traps, something physical. Sure, you might need to add a little dash of magic to maybe get that sleep trap, but it just doesn't seem to fit for me, personally. That's something that should be in Ultimate Combat. So maybe Ranger should just been left out of this book. But hey, maybe they needed space because they're going to do a bunch with Ranger in Ultimate Combat, and so they decided, well, we can squeeze it in. Sorcerer gets a lot of love. You've got a bunch of new bloodlines. Let's count them out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's the Accursed, the Jinn, Epheret, Maestro, Myriad, Rakshasa, and Shaitan bloodlines. Sorry if I've mispronounced them or you pronounced them another way. You've got Cross-Blooded archetype, Wild-Blooded archetype, and there is another archetype in here somewhere. Where'd it go? Because it's Cross-Blooded, I believe. I didn't say that one already. Oh, I did. This was only 2 archetypes. Anyway, Frost-Blooded. You've got 2. Hopefully I can get them on there. Look at that. You've got 2 archetypes, or 2 bloodlines working in him. That is kind of crazy. So you have 2 bloodlines, mixing bloods. So then the Wild-Blooded is you've got different ways that you can. It's almost a specialty bloodline within a bloodline. Does that make sense? So you've got, say, you've got demonic, but then what kind of demon, kind of thing, or maybe you've got something like that. Yeah. So you've got all these different kinds of bloodlines. It's pretty cool. Summoner. This is pretty cool. Summoner has a new form for his companion, an aquatic base. You've got models. So say you want your companion to be something like a dragon. Tells you how to build it right here. You want a angel looking familiar or companion. Tells you how to build it. You want a fae or a hydra. Tells you how to build it. You want a mammoth, a mermaid, an undead, a winged snake, a shark. Tells you how to build it right here. Perfect little ways out of all the evolution points. Tells you how to build them. It's great. We've got evolutions. We've got some new evolution points that you can use for evolutions. We've got the Broodmaster archetype, the Evolutionist, the Master Summoner, and the Synthesist. The Broodmaster takes, instead of getting a normal size, you get a small. You can get 2 of them. So you can have 2 little companions and have like a swarm of little things you're summoning from the beyond. Witch, she gets some new hexes. She gets a bunch of new major hexes and grand hexes. There's patron themes, which include Ancestor's Death, Enchantment, Healing, and it tells you basically what kind of spells you should be getting. You've got the Beast Bonded archetype, the Grave Walker, the Hedge Witch, the Sea Witch. These are all the archetypes. Then we get into Wizard. We've got the Elemental Wizard schools of Metal and Wood, and obviously needed because it balances out all the 5 elements. We've got Scrollmaster archetype, and that's all that we have for classes. Wow, we're already at 17 minutes. This might have to be a couple of parter, because that was only Chapter 1. I was hoping to get through this a little faster. Chapter 2, Mastering Magic. We've got Spell Blight, Spell Duels, Binding Outsiders, Building and Modifying Constructs, New Familiars, Spell Books, and Designing Spells. Let's quickly go over this. Spell Blights are diseases you get because when casting a spell something went wrong. It's a great section. There's a bunch of them, minor and grand, ways to remove them, ways to get them. It's perfect. You can have one that I thought was pretty cool where if you cast a spell, you start bleeding from your eyes, which is kind of gives you a +2 to Intimidate or something because you're bleeding from your eyes while casting spells. And at the same time, it gives you some kind of minus, but it also can enhance a kind of spell depending on what it is. Just an example, Spell Duels was disappointing. It's a very small section. I believe it's only 2 pages. Get to it right here, yep. Yeah, 2 pages, if I can hold this up correctly. Right here on this page, and then over here, and that was it. It was kind of rules light, just kind of gave a couple of ways that you can have them. Personally, Spell Duels, I'd just home rule it. Make up my own stuff for it. It's simpler that way. It was a nice attempt, but it was underdeveloped, I feel. Binding Outsiders, great section. Ways to call all sorts of different kinds of outsiders. What you need to coax them into, encourage them to come to a summoning. Ways that you can encourage or discourage certain actions from them. For everything. I mean, demons, devils, angels, inevitables, genie, or jinn, whatever you prefer. Any of them. It's in here. Building and Modifying Constructs. Great chapter. Tells you how to animate objects. Building your own constructs. Modifying constructs. Complex modifications, such as, I'm going to build a golem, but oh, guess what? I can wear the golem because I built it that way. It can become like natural armor. And it literally crafts to you. You can put runes into them. You can give them extra limbs. You can give them hollow bone structures, basically, that you can fill with acid that on contact and they break. The acid spills out and causes damage. Some new familiars: king crabs, pigs, house centipedes, hedgehogs, goats, just some random stuff. Turtle. I mean, who doesn't want a turtle familiar? I don't. Spell books, great section. Details, I believe it's almost 30, 35 different pre-made spell books that have different levels, different spells, different values, different protection, and different boon-like rituals that if you have this spell book, you prepare a certain number of spells from it, you gain certain abilities. Like, for example, Harmful Surge from the Book of Harms level 5 Evoker spellbook. You can maximize a spell, but doing so damages you. Spend this boon effect as a free action when you cast a wizard evocation spell. When you do, you can treat this spell as if it were cast with a maximized spell meta magic feat, but you take 1d4 points of damage times the level of the spell that you are maximizing. The damage you take cannot be reduced in any way. So just some great ideas in here for having these spell books. I've already incorporated some of them into the campaign I'm going to be running when I get back to college. It's really great. Designing spells was a section that really wasn't for me. I don't really ever plan on designing spells of my own. There's really a bunch of great ones out there. People are making their own already, so I might just borrow theirs. But if you need it, it's in here. It's about 10-15 pages. It tells you everything from choosing descriptor words, effects, levels, tells you how much it should cost when you're having somebody buy it or put it into an item. Benchmark levels. It has classic examples, core is king, use this example if you want to build something else from it. Feats, excellent chapter because it has literally 1, 2, 3, 4 pages of the giant lists that Paizo loves to do for all their feats. And it's all, basic feats, meta magic feats, different kind of spells, effects, things that are important and help every kind of spellcaster that is listed. Every archetype that's listed has some kind of feat that can be taken from this book. It's excellent. There is even a teamwork feat in here, which I thought was kind of strange, but maybe they just wanted it in here instead of in Ultimate Combat, where I think it might work a little bit better. But I can see why they do it, because it's called Ensemble, and nearby performers gain aid or can aid your performance checks, so it kind of fits with the whole bard thing, but it wasn't that great. But that's just me. Of course, it goes into the many pages, great art. This one right here is a feat where you can add fire effects to any kind of spell or performance you're doing. So, let's see, get out of that. Then we get into Chapter 4, Words of Power. This is a section that, great idea, great concept, would love to see it implemented in the campaign. Personally, I found it a little difficult to understand, so let's kind of break this down. Words of Power. I am a spellcaster, but I don't just say I'm going to cast Fireball spell because I know the magic incantation, or like the way I need to say, and I've got all these components, or I'm an arcane spellcaster, like a sorcerer, and I just have fireballs in my hands. I'm going to cast Fireball because I know the word in the language that was the original language of the world that means fire. So I can make fire by saying fire in this language. Kind of if anybody's ever read the Inheritance Cycle, Aragon books, the ancient language where by saying fire, Bersinger, you make fire. So kind of like that concept. However, it becomes a little difficult because it's broken down into target word first, effect word, and then meta word. So let's try to get this. Target word determines what I'm targeting. Am I targeting self? Am I targeting others? Am I targeting group? Etc. Effect word. I am going to cast healing, or I'm going to cast on me healing spell. So I'm going to heal. It's going to heal me. So then meta word. I'm going to cast on me healing spell, and I'm going to boost it. It's called boost. I'm going to make it stronger. Simple, right? Yes and no. That baseline is very simple. However, I'm going to cast a spell on that group of orcs over there. So distance a target word, I'm going to, because I'm high level, I can combine words in a bunch of different ways. So I'm going to cast a acid, fire, death ward with a boost. So I'm going to cast all these words, but I have to make sure these words balance out in a certain level. I have to spend a certain spell slot level that matches those total allotment. So let's say it was a 3, 2, and a 1, so that makes a level 6 spell slot that I have to pull from. Well, I've only got 1, so I got to pull that 6th level spell, and then I'm going to boost it so that makes it like an 8 or something. For this example, it's going to make it like a 7 or 8 level spell, and so now I have to figure out all those kinds of stats for it. So it can be a little difficult, you know. Personally, I just like the idea of Fireball. But I also like the idea of the ancient language. If I can get a player to become, it's called a word caster, and really try out this system, great. I would love it. I would love to see it happen. But you can also get magic items created in this way. It's a little cheaper, but it's a little weaker. And it becomes a little crazy. You've got, it's listed, everything's listed out very nicely. You know, how it's going to work, personal effects, and all the effect words. You've got acids, animal, alignment words, nature words, armor words, binding words. The list goes on and on. And so what this does is allows for a lot of flexibility and creation in spells, if you can figure out and keep the base system straight. Now, I know the way I said it sounded kind of simple, but that was a very dumbed down version. So when you're reading it, it becomes a little more complex. So just putting it out there. Like I said, it's a great system. I'm in favor of it. I want to see it work. I want someone to say, oh, I'm casting an 8th level Death Ward, Bane, Enhance, Sonic Blasting, Wind Effect, Fireball with an Ice Touch. You're doing a what now? There's no spell in there in the Player's Handbook, Advanced Player's Guide, Ultimate Magic, Ultimate Combat, anything that can do all of that. But a word caster could, in using these words of power. And I think that's pretty cool. So hopefully I can get a player that will be willing to learn the system and try it out, because frankly I think 2 heads at this is better than just me trying to learn it all and down to a memorization part and then explaining it. I want someone to be there with me as a player who's put the effort in and really wants to know. Chapter 5, Spells. Heavy chapter. Hefty chapter. It's the last chapter in the book, and goes from page, after we get past the nice glorious little picture that takes up right there, awesome. After that, goes from page 196 to the very end of the book before the appendices, and goes to page 249. So 196 to 249. That's a pretty nice group of spells. Everybody gets a bunch of new spells. Some of these spells really awesome, really cool. I'm going to point out a couple of my personal favorites that made me just want to be a magic user just so I could use these spells. For example, Snapdragon Fireworks. What I'm going to do is I'm going to stand way in the back, and at a range of 400 feet plus 40 per level, I'm going to stand really far away. And what am I going to do? Oh, let's see. I'm going to cast this spell, and then 1 round per level is the duration. So let's say I'm 10 levels. So I got 10 rounds to do these things. From 400 and God even know each. It's far away. I'm like over 500 feet away. I'm going to cast this spell, and I'm going to snap my fingers, and a little firework in the shape of a dragon is going to zigzag wherever I want it to in that range, far away, zigzag around, avoiding obstacles, avoiding other players, avoiding monsters and traps and everything else, and it's going to explode in a nice firework explosion wherever I want it to be, in a nice burst effect that dazzles people. That's awesome. So I'm just going to stand in the back and do this, and I'm going to fire off fireworks that can dazzle you because they're in the shape of dragons. Who thinks of this? These people are awesome. I love Paizo. They're so cool. I want Snapdragon Fireworks. That'd be cool at a party, wouldn't it? I want to just pow. Anyway, back to spells. There's another really great and really powerful spell. This literally is the ultimate magic. I'm going to create a demi-plane because I can. I'm going to, depending on the regular, lesser, or greater version of the spell, a set number of 10 foot by 10 foot cubes and create my own plane of existence that, after 4 hours of this casting, group my hands together with whoever I want, or whatever I want, animals or whatever else, and teleport to my own plane of existence that I've built. This includes making weather effects, time effects, gravity effects, portals from the material plane, bringing animals, objects, wildlife, castles, any of that can be brought. You can build them on your own material plane. I like to think of this as building a secret hideout in between the planes. My own little hideout, if I could ever get a character that had this high enough level. And I would just snuggle in there, and I would make the perfect plane of existence for me and my buddies, and we would have an awesome castle fortress of awesomeness on our own plane where someone came up to attack us. We're just going to go jump through our own little portal that we've created somewhere and protected, and jump through that portal, and we're gonna hide out in here as the dragons destroy the world or whatever. Because we can, because we have this spell. You can add permanency to this spell to make it permanent, so this plane exists forever, and you don't have to cast it anymore. That is ultimate magic. What else do we have? Just some other, examples. I know I just said I love the demi-plane, but the best spell in here is Resurrect Companion. I play rangers a lot, druids. When you have an animal companion, and you're like me sometimes, you get up into the forefront even though you're a ranger, and you like to dish out the damage, and you have your animal companion right there by your side. Your animal companion might die sometimes, and that's very sad. It's heartbreaking. Not anymore, because I can resurrect my animal companion with a spell now. Thank you, Paizo, for doing the thing that I've wanted for so long. Letting me resurrect my animal without having to go get the resurrection spell. What else do we have? Cape of Wasps. This is pretty cool. I'm going to summon a swarm of wasps that can attack, act as a shield network, and form around me in like a cool cone, or can pick me up and carry me a set distance. Why? Because this is ultimate magic, that's why. Let's see, what else can I do because of this? Let's see. I can decompose a corpse. I can say, oh, well, that thing is dead, but it might come back. So, decompose corpse, no more flesh, no more bones, it's dust. On the other hand, I can bring it back. Oh, that corpse died, and it's just skeletons, it's been dead for a while. Give it flesh. That's ultimate magic. Let's see. I can summon a bunch of eagles. I can give you those spell blights that I talked about earlier. I can force punch. Literally, it's like using force push in the shape of a fist. I'm going to literally knock you back a set number of feet and make you take damage because I punched you with air. Jedi, I now am. Let's see. Oh! I have to show you this photo. I saw it and I kind of wanted to be a bard now. That is the Haunting Choir spell. I am going to summon a spectral choir of singing ghosts and what's the word I'm looking for? Orchestral. That's the word I'm looking for. Orchestral ghosts, violins and cellos and that sort of thing. And we're going to have a ghostly performance. I'm going to play my little flute or my little lute or mandolin, whatever I've got, and I'm going to perform with ghosts because I can. That's how awesome I am as a bard. What else do we have? One more spell I think we'll talk about. Lightning Arc. I'm going to set up a point here and a point here. And in between are a bunch of enemies. When I set up these 2 points, lightning strikes all of you. It's perfect. Perfect. I think that's enough talking about spells. I think I've wet your whistle, so the saying goes. And I will now go to the back where we've got the alphabetized words of power, updated and improved familiars list, spells with new descriptors, a companion sheet, takes up 2 pages, like a player sheet, and This allows you to have a nice detailed sheet for everything that your animal companion or summoner companion or familiar has. So it's really nice. You can equip them with magic items, their weight, their initiative. It's great. You know, it's really needed now that they're getting into the familiars. We have the Ultimate Magic Index, and then we have the nice little Ultimate Combat Preview. Prepare for glory. So that will take it to the end. So let's quickly, I don't want to do a recap because it would take too long. Let's quickly give it my star rating and what I thought about this. Personally, I am so glad I got this book. It's great. It's wonderful to have. You know, really great for, I have a lot of magic users in my campaigns. Really good stuff. What am I going to give it? Personally, I have to say I'm going to give it a 3.5. 3.5 stars. Then you're probably thinking, Derek, why are you only giving it 3.5 stars? You talked about it so much. You loved it. Well, first things first. I'm not going to up half a star because there is no standard order for any of the descriptions, for any of the locations of feats, of spells, of abilities. And personally, it gets really annoying when I'm reading a section and I'm like, oh, okay, so they just told me there's a new feat. Okay, so that feat is going to be listed in this book. Let's go to the feat section real quick so I can learn about it. It's not there. Well, where is it? Turn back. Oh, it's in, Advanced Player's Guide. That's okay. I'll go grab Advanced Player's Guide. I grab Advanced Player's Guide, read it, go back, go to a new section. Oh, okay, here's an asterisk. It's in Advanced Player's Guide. Wrong. It's in this book. I don't like that. I need Paizo to set a standard here. 1 asterisk means this, 2 asterisk means this throughout the whole book. That's just me. Maybe, you guys can deal with it. I personally can't. It makes it too tedious in the heat of the moment when I need to know something. And say a character is using something from Ultimate Magic and they're like, oh, well, I have this ability because I'm an Undead Lord Cleric, but I can't find it in Ultimate Magic because they've had the same problem. Now I have to stop the game and go show them where it is or tell them where it is, and then that takes longer. No, it's not going to happen. Now, why did I knock off the whole star? So I gave it a 3.5. I talked about why I couldn't give it the thing that would make it a 4. Why did I knock off the other star? The thing that really keeps us from getting a 5 is the fact that even though it's great, a lot of the stuff is circumstantial. Specifically, Words of Power section. If you don't have a player that wants to be a word caster, if you don't have an interest in a new spell system, if you don't care, if you don't think anybody's ever going to use it, and you don't want it in your campaign setting, that's a good chunk of the book that you just cut out for yourself. That's money kind of wasted on your part because you can't use that section. You don't feel the need to use it. Same thing with spell duels. I mean, it's just not good enough, in my opinion, to be in there. I could just house rule everything that they wrote down. I could house rule it all. And so that cuts out another little section. While, yes, some of the things were great in those sections, the constructs and summonings, those were great. Some of the archetypes and everything just didn't seem like they needed to be in there. The Ranger, I felt, just didn't need to be included. Some of the Druid archetypes were really just underdeveloped or wrongly named, I felt. So it's kind of false advertisement. And then you've got some sections that, were just kind of, like the Qigong Monk. I wasn't feeling it. I just wasn't feeling it. So personally, 3.5 is all you can get it. Don't get me wrong, 3.5 that's awesome. I'm good. I love it. Like I said, Snapdragon fireworks all day, right here. That's me. Little fireworks. Cool. I want to create a little demi-plane because I can snuggle in and have my little secret hideaway. That's awesome. I'm gonna wear a construct as armor because I can. I can build that. I'm gonna have a creepy alchemist with tumor familiars and a creepy little guy living on my back, and then I'm gonna put my brain in a bunch of different people. That's awesome. This book is the Ultimate Magic, but some of the mechanics don't fit as well. So while they give me all the magic I want, the nuances that kind of fall short for me. So there we have it, 3.5 stars. Sorry for this such a long-winded video. Hope I covered everything that people wanted to know about in this. If not, let me know. I will make a supplement video to this if I have to. But let me know what you guys think. Hopefully this is a review that you can be looking forward to and glad that it's out there. So, once again, Pathfinder, Ultimate Magic, Magus, everything great. 3.5 stars out of 5. Ultimate Magic. This has been a Pathfinder product review. This has been Derek, Leica 101. Thanks for watching such a long video.